Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Hope you're swell. Hope you're wavy. Hope you're crazy. I make music. I'm doing a song a day challenge with a goal to drop a song a day until the end of the year. A song a day until the end of the year. I drop 7 songs every Friday. Every Friday. 7 songs. 7 songs. It's all in the description. I'm actually trying to. I wonder if I can break the record for most songs released by a solo artist. Oh my god, there's this woman from India. I think she released like 11,100 songs. That's the record right now. But I just feel like it's not fair because the way she did it, she took a lot of shortcuts. Because it's like recordings for movies and stuff. Like I think that's the main thing she did, was like a lot of vocals for movies and stuff, and duets and all these things. And I feel like some of these things aren't even full-length songs. So it's like, how are they counting this? Like, how are they counting? But I did the maths, and if every year I did this whole song a day challenge thing, like 300 songs every year, I think by in about 34 years I'd break a record. It's either 34 or 37 years. I'm not sure which one it was. One of those. But I could do that. But then if I break a record, it's like actual songs, like full-length songs, produced entirely by me, written by me, recorded by me. I made the instrumental, all of that. It's just me. And it's actual songs, like full-length songs. I'll try it and see if I can do it. That'd be something, wouldn't it, though, if I break that record? But you have to commit to like basically your whole life, every day, just making music, which it's not easy. But I think I can do it. I think I can. If I want to break that record, we'll see. But anyway, also yesterday I saw part of the Candace Owens Andrew Tate interview. It's like 30 minutes. Guys, Andrew Tate is not it, man. It's not. Andrew Tate is not it. I know a lot of young men, like such as myself. I used to like Andrew Tate, but then around the time he went to prison, all those videos came out of him explaining how he got those women into his webcam business. And it was like, this guy is weird. It's not just weird, he's wicked. And I feel like a lot of people are just looking past that. Just like, oh. And look, I watched the Candace Owens thing, right? And Candace did not challenge him at all in that. Okay, look, I watched for 30 minutes. It's 3 hours long. Maybe she did. But I just feel like the areas where she should have challenged him, she was like, for the 30 minutes I saw the things they were talking about, I'm like, you've got him dead to rights here. You can really, if you know who Candace Owens is, very controversial, but I like her. I think she says a lot of factual things, but I don't agree with everything she says, but most of what she says I agree with. And she's very outspoken, very confident, doesn't take shit. So like, yeah, like Candace will definitely give this guy a hard time. Watch the interview. Just throwing a bunch of softballs, honestly. There was no real challenge there. But here's the thing, I feel like I suspect that she felt intimidated because he's a big guy. This guy's huge and he's muscular and he's very confident, and the way he speaks and all that stuff. I think, and he's very, very smart, and he uses a lot of manipulative tactics when he's speaking, so he can gaslight people. So I feel like she was just genuinely like, yeah, I don't wanna. I don't know. Maybe that's an insult to her, but to me, it seems as if she was intimidated because there's no way you're letting him off the hook for some of the things he's outwardly said and on camera. But she was just like, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree. The whole time I was watching, she was just like, I agree with you. Nodding her head. I'm like, oh, how do you agree with him? So, for example, one of the videos, he was talking about how he got girls into his webcam business. He was like, you have to fuck them. You can't not fuck them. You have to fuck them so that they can fall in love with you. Then they'll be more open to the idea of working in the webcam business. And you have this girl who's close to you, that you get her to talk to the girls as well, because you shouldn't approach them yourself with the idea. You must let this other woman, he calls her a bottom bitch, and a bottom bitch is like basically like a pimp's assistant. That's literally, in the world of pimps, they call the pimps, I guess, recruiter, the girl that recruits other like prostitutes for the pimp. He calls her his bottom bitch. So he's literally calling this other girl a bottom bitch. He says, you need to get your bottom bitch to then speak to the girls and convince them to join the webcam business and yada 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 yada. Then he's talking about how he lies to them about how much he's paying them. He'll say, oh, I'm paying you this much, but then he's like, but then I trick them because it's actually that I just make up a bunch of bullshit. I'm making this much, and I'm lying to them about how much I'm making, and I'm paying them less than they actually, like, they're not getting as much as they should, basically. And all this stuff. It's a very long video. We're seeing a lot of damning stuff, right? And his whole excuse for that was like, I wouldn't have spoken the way I spoke if I knew, because my understanding is that that video, the one I'm talking about, was a private video that was sent to like maybe 50 people. It wasn't supposed to be public. See, his defense was like, if I'd known that it was going to be leaked and exposed to millions of people, I wouldn't have spoken the way I was spoken. I'm like, duh. Obviously, because what she's saying is fucked up, it's wrong. So of course, if you knew that people were going to be watching, like more people were going to be watching, you wouldn't have said it that way. That doesn't make it less wrong. In fact, it's just more incriminating. It's like, because you have something to hide. It's just ridiculous. Like, he somehow flipped that and made it seem like he wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, and he kept saying like, okay, I guess it was maybe a little immoral. I'm like, it's not a little immoral, it's a lot immoral. And he was like, who are you people to judge me, and da 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 da. And Candace asked him, because he's very like critical of like porn and people who watch porn. And fair enough, porn isn't great, guys. Like, you know, I'll admit porn isn't great. I've watched porn. A lot of men have watched porn. It's not good. So let's start there. But his whole thing is, if you've watched porn, you can't criticize me for, he says, for quote unquote making porn. He says it's not porn, is it? It's in the universe of porn. He's like, you can't criticize me because you're watching it, so you're contributing to the thing, to the industry, I guess, whatever. So you have no right to criticize. All right, wait a second. No, that's not how this works. Like, I can buy a bag of coke. Like maybe I smoked coke once, like a couple times in my life. I haven't. I'm just using an example. And then still criticize Pablo Escobar, for example. You know what I'm saying? Or the coke dealer. Be like, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. This is not good. Because I understand why it's wrong. I understand that this is not good. I can still criticize it and be like, you probably shouldn't be doing this. Because then it's like you're conflating sins. Yes, we really shouldn't be looking at porn. It objectifies women and all these different things, right? It's not good. That's not the same thing as manipulating women into this webcam business and basically being a pimp. One is infinitely worse than the other. Not infinitely, but one is worse than the other. Like, it's such a straight, but it's like, it's gaslighting. It's genuinely making you like feel like you're the crazy one. Like, oh, you have no right to judge me because you're just as fucked up as I am. Basically, is what you're saying. It's like, no. It's not the same. It's not nearly the same. It's ridiculous. Such a ridiculous argument. If I buy weed from this, back when weed was illegal, I buy weed from someone and smoke weed. My punishment is not going to be the same as someone who was the biggest weed distributor in the little city or whatever the case may be. It's not the same. The coke example is better because coke is, weed is not as harmful as cocaine. You know what I'm saying? And besides the fact that that's not even the issue with what he was doing necessarily. The fact that he was basically in production of porn. What the real issue is how he manipulated those women. And also, he'd brag about how, because how it worked is the woman would be on the webcam. And then they'll be like texting the men as well who are watching them on the webcam. So it's like texting and the video interaction as well. So you can see them on the webcam and then they can type to you and be going back and forth, right? So what Andrew was saying he'd do is he'd actually be the one talking to the men. Sometimes he'd be the one talking to the men. And they'll be thinking they're actually talking to this woman on the stream, but they're actually talking to Andrew Tate, and you'd be tricking them and saying all sorts of things, telling them what they want to hear. First of all, that's a bit sus. It's giving slightly homosexual because I don't, in what situation are you, I'd imagine some of those conversations were like flirty. They're telling you things about themselves that no straight man should hear from another man. I don't know. I don't know what sort of conversations they were having. But besides that, the manipulation is disgusting. Because Andrew, he talks about, I'm trying to help men be better, these vulnerable men be better, and all these things. But you were like taking advantage of these dudes, dude. And he's like, I remember on the Full Send podcast, the Nelk boys, he was on there bragging about how he would get them to give up their life savings and all these different things. They were just giving money away to these girls, and he was behind all of it, typing to them, making them think they're actually talking to the woman and all this stuff, and they were giving him money, and he's like just taking advantage of them. And I'm like, I thought your whole thing was that you're trying to empower men. This Nelk Boy interview was like very recent. It wasn't that long ago. And he's bragging about it, like as if it's something to be proud of. It's one thing if you've done fucked up shit in your past and you're genuinely like, you're remorseful and you speak out against it and you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. That's not, this guy's in the Candace Owens interview. He's like, I refuse to apologize for what I did. I don't believe in apologizing because it is what it is. It happened. And I was poor, So I did what I had to do to survive, and yada 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 yada. So I'm not sorry for what I did. I'm like, I'm like, I'm like, look, I can he doesn't need to apologize to us, like you and me, because he didn't harm us, but I think it's important to be remorseful. I sensed no ounce of remorse for what he did. To say what I did was wrong. I wanted to be made known that what I did was. It didn't even seem like he was willing to do that. To be like, just so that people know not to do that sort of stuff, because he is a big public figure and all this stuff. So it's just like, it just doesn't seem like, you know what it seems like? It seems like if given the opportunity again, if somehow he was poor again and he had to make his way up again, and those were the same choices presented to him, he'd do it again. That's what it seems like. It doesn't seem like he would do it any other way. And I remember watching a video of him. He was with Aiden Ross. You know Aiden Ross, the YouTuber guy? He's a streamer, whatever. And Aiden asked him some question like, what would you do if you weren't famous or something like that? Like, what would you be doing? And then he was like, his answer he gave was like, this was very recently, like maybe last year or something. He was like, I like control, so I'd get some guy, make him famous and whatever, but I'm the one behind the scenes pulling the strings and manipulating things and getting all the money and whatnot, which isn't inherently like evil. It's a very weird way to, because the thing that's weird to me is this guy's obsession with control and manipulation. Because like he was doing in the webcam thing, he'd be behind these women, texting these men, making the men think that it's the girls that are texting them, but it's actually him. This weird obsession with control and manipulating and lying to people, and it's very dark. I had another point I wanted to make, but I forgot. Oh yeah, even in that video where he was explaining how he got these girls into the webcam business, the word he kept using, which was very like alarming to me, like why did I just feel like a normal sane person doesn't think this way. The word he kept using was control. Like, if you want to control these women, you have to do this. If you want to control her. Like, he just kept using that word over and over and over again. And you know, like, the argument you always make is none of these women have anything against me. Like, they all love me, yada, yada, yada. Y'all are the only ones complaining. But I'm like, look, if you're this nice guy who genuinely cares for these women, why do you feel the need to control them? Like, why is that the word you keep going to? I'm very suspicious of him, man. I just feel like he's very good at manipulating people. I think that's more than anything else. That's his skill, manipulation. And he's a very big guy. Like, he's huge, and he's this mixed martial arts guy, a fighter. He was a champion at some point. He beat people up for a living. I'm sure a lot of people are scared of him. So it's easy for him to like convince people of things and get very little pushback. In my mind, I genuinely think Candace was like intimidated by him, which is why she didn't push back very much. I might be wrong. She doesn't seem like the type to get intimidated by anyone. She's very brazen. And that's what I like about her. But in this interview, it's like all that brazenness, that courage. I was like, where is it? It's either you genuinely agree with this man on everything he's saying, which is very off-brand, because she's like this Christian conservative woman, So you should be pushing back on many things he's saying, but I was, there was no pushback. So my theory is she was intimidated, and it makes sense because, yeah, when you have this hulking man and he's very intelligent, he's very eloquent, and he's also like very good at chess. Like his dad was like a chess master, and he's pretty good at chess himself. I think he participated in different chess competitions and whatnot. So he's just got that mind, that evil mastermind mentality. Like he's just so good at manipulation. But I'm looking at him like, I don't agree with anything this man is saying. Well, some things I agree with. And that's the thing about Andrew Tate as well. Sometimes he makes a lot of sense. In fact, a lot of the time he makes a lot of sense. But that's what makes it even more insidious, because then he can package all these other more twisted, dark aspects of himself in this other stuff that actually makes sense. So it's kind of like a Trojan horse situation where you're consuming a message that's actually not good. It just has good aspects to it. And another thing he always does that I've noticed, at least recently, he always compares himself to like these great figures like Batman, Genghis Khan, like Nelson Mandela, like these, like literally he said this in an interview where he's like, oh, I'm not comparing myself to these people, but other people compare me to. Then he names these people. So I feel like he genuinely views himself as this and he said himself like, I'm the most influential man on the planet. I'm the most Googled man on the planet, yada yada. I feel like he genuinely views himself as this hero. He called himself an anti-hero or whatever. But like, he has very high opinions of himself. It's concerning, man. I think there's some, I don't know the psychological terms for it, but there's something going on there. I don't think he's all the way okay upstairs, dude. Like, it's genuinely scary almost, like, because like, he's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. You can't even call him a sheep. This gigantic man who used to hurt people for a living, which is not, there's nothing wrong with being a professional fighter. I watch UFC, I watch boxing. There's nothing wrong with that. But like just the image of people like that, like they're scary, like a Mike Tyson. Like that's a scary guy. Like Mike Tyson bit a man's ear off one time. Or bit a piece of the man's ear off. Like Andrew Tate was talking about how there's a man out there that he beat up so bad during a fight that man can never like walk again. Like he disabled him. A guy like that, yeah. You don't want problems with a man like that, but we still have to stand up to people like this because they're not good people to be looking up to. And he was talking about how, because within the conservative space, there are a lot of people that have been criticizing him, and rightfully so. And he's like, these people are nerds and they're just jealous of me. And you're talking about the reason why conservatism doesn't resonate with the youth is because conservatives are dorks and they're not cool and whatnot. First of all, that's not factual. I just saw very recently a stat that came out that said more and more, like there's been an explosion amongst young boys identifying as conservative. Like an explosion, whereas the girls are more liberal, which makes sense because girls are more emotional. So I feel like the liberal arguments are always very emotional. So I feel like it would obviously appeal to women. But it's very encouraging to see young boys finally heeding the message of conservative values, family, marriage, children, God, that sort of stuff. So Andrew Tate is wrong in that regard. The conservative message does resonate. But you're saying like the reason why a lot of young men resonate with him is because he's cool. He's got all these cars. He's got all these women. he's buff, he's this, he's that. He's the guy that other men want to be. First of all, I don't want to be like Andrew Tate. I don't think that's very admirable. Like the thing of fucking many women and the watches and the cars and all of that. I think the money is great. It'd be nice to have that much money, but I just feel like the flashiness and the sex and I don't aspire to that. I don't want to be that type of man. The type of people I look up to are the more intellectual types. Like I genuinely admire like true intellectuals. Jordan Peterson for me is wonderful. Ben Shapiro, I'm gonna catch a lot of heat for that one, but he's genuinely intelligent. Genuinely. Like what age did he go to university? I think he was like 16 when he went to university. Like he skipped a bunch of grades because he was he was way above his peers. He was playing classical violin at like 11. There was a video of him playing this beautiful song at like 11 years old. He's a genius. Those are the type of men I admire. And they're all married and they have children and they're loyal to their wives and I've watched so many like Ben Shapiro videos where he's just talking about his family and like funny stories about his kids and funny stories about his wife and arguments they've had and then stuff like that. And it's like it genuinely warms my heart. And those are the type of people I look up to. I don't look up to like Andrew Tate. I don't want that life. I just want a stable, traditional life. And I like listening to like intellectuals. In terms of like rappers I look up to, like I don't look up to like the typical rappers who are just like living the typical rapper life. I like people like Russ. He is single and probably does fuck a lot of women and whatnot, but I admire him more for like the independent stuff, and he travels a lot. I like the travel aspect because he posts a lot of that online. He's very motivational, he's very positive. So I like that about him. Logic, the rapper Logic. He's married, he has a kid, he has 2 kids. He's very loyal to his wife, talks about his wife in his music. I really respect him for that. Yeah, I don't admire a lot of rappers, to be honest. I feel like I think those 2 are really right now the only ones that I look up to as role models. Who else? I like Drake as well. Like I used to be like the biggest Drake fan. I'm still a fan, but as I've matured, like there's just certain things that I'm like not I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't agree with that, I don't agree with that. So it's like a more sober minded respect, where it's like there's certain things I don't agree with, but there's a lot of stuff that I still look up to, like in terms of the hard work and he's the reason I started making music, like for real. Like I remember 2015 I started listening to him. Then 2017 I was like, I really want to do what he does. And I've watched pretty much all these interviews several times. He's very intelligent, and he has a lot of good things on a lot of things and whatnot. So, but yeah, like now that I've matured, the woman and some of the themes in his music and stuff, I'm not a fan of it all. But there's so much respect there, just as a man who's built this incredible career, so much success, like the most successful rapper like ever, basically. So there's definitely a lot of respect there. Yeah. Anyway, Andrew Tate, not that for me. You know what Andrew Tate is like? He's like the bully. He's like the school bully. Who's popular and all this stuff, but he's not a very great person. So I just feel like when you're mature, like it's like you don't want that. You don't think that guy is cool. You think he's a problem. I like J. Cole too, another rapper that I look up to in some regards. It's like he's very private. He's also married, family, but he doesn't talk about his family much because he's very private. So I admire that about him. I like how laid back he is and just chilled, and you really don't know that much about him and what is going on in his personal life, which I think is good. You have to keep a lot of things to yourself. So I like that about him. But yeah, those are the sort of men I look up to. And then you have to look up to Christ as well. Like that's one thing I realized. Like, all these men are just men. But I think it's very easy to get led astray when you look up to like just normal mortal men that are just flawed like you are. Whereas Christ can't lead you astray because he's just perfect. He's the best man to have ever walked this earth. So for me, it's like when I read my Bible and I just analyze him and the things he said and the way he moved, the things he did, I'm like, that's the best way to, that's the sort of figure you should try your best to be like. I don't think I should have like one man or however many men that I'm like you're like starry-eyed and that's your idol. You shouldn't idolize any man really, except Christ. And then you have your father, who's supposed to be that primary guiding figure in your life, and your father, and then Christ, and yeah, that should be it. Anyway, let me know what you think about this whole Andrew Tate fiasco. Let me pray and get out of here. Oh, dear Father God, thank you for this individual watching this video right now. Thank you for making them whole and unique. Thank you for blessing them. You're guiding them on a great path, a path of adventure and fulfillment, where they're meeting people and they're building relationships and they're truly happy, truly fulfilled, truly at peace. Lord God, I pray for peace over this individual's life. Peace no matter what situation they find themselves in, Lord God. Good health, long life, and happiness over this person, over their friends and family as well. Help them be grateful, help them appreciate all that's good in their life. And then through their gratitude, I pray that they attract even more blessings, oh God. In my name I pray. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.